elaborate for you. So we'll start off with example. This couple have got say 150,000 in their CPF, all right, and they're buying a HDB that costs $500,000. So they take example, a 10% down payment, right? So they'll pay 50,000 down and borrow 450,000. So this is based on a 10% down payment. Okay, 2.6% interest on HDB interest, right? 20 years, 12 months per year, and their scheduled payment, they have to pay 2,400 every month for the next 20 years. Total interest rate will be 127,000 from the interest rate. So that overall capital and outlay would be 627,000. Okay, with me so far? Now, but what if they only make 10% down payment? They would have 100,000 left in their CPF ordinary account, right? Now the CPF ordinary account, if there's 100,000 there and compounded over 20 years at 2.5% interest rate, they would have a future value of 163,000. Okay, now this is the other thing that you must learn, is called accrued interest. If you take money out of your CPF that's generating 2.5% for you, you're expected to put back that 2.5% accrued interest. Now, if you've taken out 50,000, right, as your down payment, and every month 2,400, your accrued interest after 20 years is 204,000. So if this 4-room or 5-room HDB, after 20 years, you bought it at $500,000 and you sell it at 700,000, right? How much cash profit would you have? Right? Now, if you buy it at $500,000 and you sell it at 700,000, your cash profit was presumably 200,000. But you owe your own CPF this accrued interest. Okay, so the word is accrued interest. You don't owe, but you have to put back or make good this accrued interest at 204,000. So technically you have no cash profit after 20 years selling your HDB at 700,000. Right? So you need to understand this concept first, the accrued interest. Now with that, paying 10% down, is it better, or paying 30% down payment for that property being better? Now, if you understand accrued interest and the 2.5% interest rate that your CPF ordinary account is making for you, then actually paying less down payment is better. But again, the Asian mentality of let's clear as much as possible, right, is the one that's causing a problem here. Now, if you pay 30% down payment, let me show you the numbers in a 20% down payment and a 30% down payment with the effects of accrued interest. Right, so this example here so far, it's a 10% down payment. All right, let's look at the 20% down payment. So over here, everything else being the same, loan amount 400,000, right, at 2.6% interest rate, your scheduled payment is 2,001. So what's good here is that you're paying lesser installment, right? But your overall capital outlay would be at 613,000, all right? Compared with the 10% is 627,000. So they're quite close, but the 20% down payment, your overall capital outlay is slightly more, beg my pardon, your overall capital outlay is slightly less. So 627 and 613,000. All right? So you pay more down payment, your capital outlay is reduced. Now, but what I want you to look at is your accrued interest. Now, this same couple paid 20% down, right? They would have 50,000 balance in their CPF ordinary account, assuming the 3 scenarios, they have 150,000 to begin with. Okay, so with that 50,000 compound interest at 2.5% interest rate of CPF for 20 years, that 50,000 will grow into 81,000. So with that accrued interest, net off the 81,000, their overall, right, asset position is negative 137,000, right, over here, 137,000. Okay, so you're with me so far? Now let's look at the typical scenario when a couple have 150,000 in their CPF and they went to buy a HDB property. Now, without consulting an expert, a financial practitioner, you know what will happen? CPF will do a wipeout. They will wipe out 30% or whatever you have in your ordinary account. So you got to learn how to remove this so that you can determine what percentage you want to make for down payment. Otherwise, the concession position of 10% down payment typically never happen for most people, right? So here, if they have 100,000 and it gets wiped out, meaning to say that capital for down payment is 150,000, right? So their loan amount is now lesser, 350,000 here, right? Same interest rate. Let me adjust that to 2.6. So with 350,000 loan, the down payment 150,000, 350,000 loan at 2.6% interest rate, right? 20 years, 12 months per year. Their monthly repayment is now at 1,800. So they pay a lot lesser on the ongoing part. But the capital, the initial capital is 150,000. Now, their CPF balance will be zero, and 20 years of 2.5% at zero, you still get zero asset. Now, let's look at this objectively. Now, your total capital outlay, instead of 20%, you look at 613,000. Here, your total capital outlay is 599. So about 600,000. You save 13,000 over a 20-year period. However, your accrued interest, you took out more from your CPF, right? 150,000. Your accrued interest is now at 233,000. Now let's compare that with if you have done a 10%, your accrued interest is 204,000. That's 30,000 difference. However, with the asset growing at 2.5%, you have 163,000 more. Even you net off the accrued interest, your position is negative 40,000. But if you have done a 30% down payment, your position would be a negative 233,000. Now, my friend, let me ask you that question. Which would you like to be in a position? Owing 40,000 net or 233,000 net? So this is the best way to show you these numbers because it's not so easy to comprehend. Even after hearing me right now, the numbers will make sense, right? But after tomorrow, you will still struggle to accept these facts about accrued interest because typically it's so difficult to count for accrued interest up till you have been there. So I've got a lot of clients and friends say, oh, you know, Paul, after 10 years, 20 years, when I sell my house, then I understand what you mentioned, accrued interest. Oh, it's so painful, right? So a lot of people don't understand the impacts of their decision up till 10, 20 years later. So this is very important, especially if you're new and young, home buyers going to buy a HDB. These are very, very vital consideration point. All right, so very vital. So this is where I'd like to share with you the understanding of accrued interest and the advantage of low down payment, right, vis-a-vis your CPF, or paying more down payment and clearing off your loan on a lesser installment basis. All right, so these two components, you must understand how to make use of it. Now, the advantage of doing a lowered down payment versus your CPF being wiped off, there's one more additional clear advantage, is that once you take out the money from your ordinary account and later transfer it back, that 100,000 or 50,000, now this set of money becomes your emergency fund. Should you lose a job where there's no further contribution to your CPF, you then can rely on this set of money to pay the installment, right? So the benefits are, there are a lot more benefits in terms of doing this, but a lot of time we don't know, and we will not get to enjoy this benefit because your CPF will be wiped out the moment you purchase that house or collect that key. Alright, so these are things that you must do, especially plan it out before your first appointment or second appointment with HDB. Please speak to professionals like us. Okay?